Grums on X. Steam is now taking down games that violate payment processor guidelines. This is the big elephant in the room. The real lock on censorship comes from who controls payments. There's just a handful of companies, Visa, Mastercard, PayPal, etc., that are basically legislating via monopoly control. This has been used against 2A companies as well. While some content is certainly disagreeable, companies should not be dictating this to the rest of the world. This effectively makes them governments without process or representation, which honestly could not have said it better myself. Banger tweet by Grums. And basically, the problem that we have right now is governments regulate to make sure a fair playing field and that there's a free market, quote unquote, even though we always say that while we laugh because there's no free market. But it allows the transactions of goods with people, and it kind of sets the laws. And many of the laws, especially like in America, are governed by the people for the people, and they allow things that people decide together. Now we have a situation where private companies have grown so big that they are bigger than a government. They are worldwide, making infinite money and completely controlling whatever they want to in the world. And I saw Hypnotic. He says, I need to read up on this because if true, it's a major Steam L. It is a major Steam L, but at the same time, and I'm going to get into this, I think Gabe was kind of between a rock and a hard place with the decision making here, because if you start going down this road with these companies, it's like they're like a legalized mafia. They can determine whatever they want. They can decide what companies will succeed and which ones won't based off of how they're feeling. And that is insane. That is insane how far it's gone. So right here, we got point 15. Content that may violate the rules and standards set forth by Steam's payment processors and related card networks and banks or internet network providers, in particular, certain kinds of adult-only content. And we have a follow-up over here. Niche Gamer saying, Steam updates its rules to comply with payment processor censorship, purges multiple titles. Details below. Asmongold, payment processor monopolistic censorship is one of the biggest unchecked cartels right now. I would remove one of the and just say is the biggest unchecked cartel. There is no bigger monopolistic censorship cartel than credit card companies. They rule the world right now. They are the Illuminati behind the scenes. Regulation is needed to either break up these companies or guarantee a degree of service. It's not a free market when every company operates collectively. Another banger post. Couldn't have said it better myself. Niche Gamer says 100% they have an unfair bias towards media that just so happens to usually be from Japan. They're actively bullying Japanese publishers and platforms. 100% true. The other thing that these credit card companies need to realize is that different cultures have different standards of what is X-rated, what is pornography, what is accepted, and what is not. And these credit card companies are superseding the culture and saying, no, we're going to impact your culture with what our Puritan culture is, saying that we supersede you and we are pushing forth our agenda on you, Japan, which is crazy. They're forcing Japan to adhere to Western standards. That should never happen. And like I said earlier, Savvy said, it's worse than you think and has been going on for a while. Savvy has had many multiple threads going in depth on just how deep this rabbit hole goes. And if I started talking about those, we would be here for 3 hours. And maybe someday I'll go on a rant with those, because she has some banger threads that go into all this. But this comes to us from Eurogamer, saying Steam introduces vague new rules banning certain kinds of adult content to appease credit card companies. Corporate cowardice in action. Valve has introduced new and worryingly vague guidelines, which, by the way, based from Eurogamer, that they're actually like against this kind of censorship from the pro gaming journalism outlet. I'm shocked. I guess a broken clock can be right twice a day, but damn, okay. Aimed at the adult-only game development community, forbidding content that may violate the rules and standards set by credit card companies, internet providers, and more. It's not precisely clear when Valve introduced the latest rule stipulating what developers shouldn't publish on Steam, but it appears to have been added sometime in the last couple of months. So what's now banned on the platform, according to Valve? Content that, and this is quote unquote, content that may violate the rules and standards set forth by its payment processors and related card networks and banks, or internet network providers, which I've been talking about the credit card companies the whole time. Internet network providers is just as scary. It's just as scary as credit card companies, because they are what allow the information to travel to you. And if they start putting guidelines and guardrails on what's allowed to get to you and not, there's some major concerns with the future of the freedom of the internet. There's some small nod towards additional clarity, but it's not much. Valve suggests developers should, in particular, avoid publishing certain kinds of adult-only content, but provides no specifics beyond that. Damn, that sounds like YouTube. Hey, you should probably avoid putting someone's knees in a video. What do you mean? Just kidding. It's fine. It's not actually you can do it. You totally can do it. It's not the knees. It's other stuff. Banks have long been skittish about providing services to businesses where sex and adult entertainment may be a factor. But as this 2021 article from The Guardian they're referencing The Guardian. Holy crap. If there's one thing we can all agree on, I am shocked it's this. We got the Eurogamer, The Guardian, and YouTubers and people on X all agreeing in unanimous voices saying this is a problem. That's how you know it's a problem. If everyone's saying it, I don't know the last time I've seen that. Like, holy crap, planets aligning. Their inconsistency has proven a challenge for business owners, which might be where Valve's own decision to err on the side of vagueness was born. Valve, of course, has made headlines recently after a number of controversial sex games appeared on their store, so it's easy enough to imagine banks and similar financial services getting uncomfortable when a platform hits the news for publishing content featuring extreme violence, bleep violence, because it's YouTube, and I need to even censor myself on here with this kind of stuff. This is the world we live in, by the way. Isn't it glorious? And it seems Valve may have become skittish in return. As noted by SteamDB, thanks PC Gamer, it appears the company, which previously said it would allow everything on Steam, unless illegal, which, yeah, obviously, or straight up trolling, has been frantically pulling incest theme games from its store in recent times. Which, here's the thing, by the way. I'm all for if it's not illegal and if it's like a game that's put out there, if it's a kink that people are into, if you're not hurting anyone, if it's not illegal, there's no problem here. Like, have at it. If it's adults only, it's adults only. Let the people with those weird kinks have at it. The games aren't going to sell very well because I'd imagine there's not many people with those kind of kinks. Maybe there are. but, but when we start drawing lines on, oh, you can't have an incest themed game, but you can have a massive boob game. You can have a foot fetish game. You can have a bestiality game. You can have LGBTQ games. Why are we drawing lines on the chart on where you're allowed to make the game and where you're not? If it's not illegal, it should be allowed on there. There are laws put in place decided by the democracy to decide if it's okay or not, and then just run by that. Now we have another layer being put on top of that, being the internet providers and credit card companies. The vagueness of Valve's wording means confusion and concern among adult content developers. Imagine being an adult content creator or making adult video games, which, by the way, I do know one adult only developer, and they've shared behind the scenes a game with me that they're working on, and it's pretty raunchy, but it's also like a video game. It's also a video game. It's not just this crazy raunchy game the whole time. And imagine trying to develop a game where games can take 2 to 3 years to make. Indie games might be less, but bigger games might take more time. When you're dealing with a constantly evolving bureaucracy surrounding you, where by the time the game's ready to come out, it might not even be allowed to come out. That's what's crazy to me because of the credit card companies. It's likely to intensify as they grapple with reality that financial institutions may now be the ultimate arbiters of the ever-changing acceptability on Steam. Man, if Trump wants to get the attention off the Epstein situation, he could talk about this right away. That people would be like, whoa, Trump's talking about this? I think people would hear he wants to break up the credit card companies. He wants to break up the cartels of the internet providers and what is being allowed and what's not. I think that would be a good distraction from Epstein if you're listening, Trump. And some have expressed concern this new authority may start impacting the availability of LGBTQ. There you go. Didn't I just say that earlier? As corporations buckle to appease the U.S. government's continuing attack on queer rights, which, what? Where? What? You need a source on this. You need a source on this. That's insane to me. You can't just, oh yeah, and they're attacking gay people. No, they're not. That's not a thing. It's never been a thing. Stop playing the victim that your rights are being taken away as being gay. I will fight for gay people to have their gay games. I will. I'll say you can have your gay games all you want. No one's trying to take that away from you. That's not even a thing. What the hell? It's the quiet normalization of financial censorship, and it's going to hurt LGBTQ plus games and devs. YouTuber Noah Fuel Gaming wrote on social media. That's your source? That's your source that's worried about LGBTQ rights? That's not even a source. That's a random dude on YouTube that says, oh, this is good. The U.S. government is attacking queer rights. No, they're not. Stop saying that. You're lying. Show a source. Tell me how they're doing it. I'll fight for you if they start doing that. They're not. Stop saying that. That's annoying. Stop. Banks like Visa and Mastercard are now backdoor moral authorities. They are already pressured Patreon, OnlyFans, and others to remove not safe for work content. Now Steam is next. And guess who they'll target first? Queer, transgressive, or unusual games. This is the thing. They're thinking about like a slippery slope. Like right now they're doing like the incest and it's like the crazy weird shit, which again, we are all against this kind of censorship. All in unison. The Guardian, Eurogamer, YouTubers are all looking at this like this is a Steam L. This is a credit card company cartel. This needs to stop. We're all on your side. What the hell are you talking about? They're coming after you. No, they're not. I can understand that you're concerned that they might eventually. Okay, that's fair. But don't say that the U.S. government's continuing attack on queer rights. That's not what's happening. You need a source if you say that. If that eventually does start to happen, that's a problem. And I agree with you. Let me see. Hold on a second. Dev says, smash for the censor happy right wingers like Phantom Pulse guys. Let's censor the gays is 100% one of their motivations for supporting this. True. I'll agree with that. Valve hasn't yet publicly addressed its new policy, but we've reached out for more information. Okay. So that's where we're at right now with the current cartel of credit card companies and internet providers. And again, a huge shout out to Madam Savvy, who called this out 6 to 8 months ago. She was writing threads about how this was an incoming thing. People need to actually pay close attention because it's going to come for you. It's coming. It's happening. And it needs some sort of governmental intervention. The concern that I have is these credit card companies and internet companies the providers are so big that they can grease and line the pockets of the politicians to make sure they can continue to do whatever they want to do till the end of time. And that ain't cool. And it's very concerning seeing Steam bend the knee here. But I wonder if they had much of a choice. I do. I really do. Not to be sympathetic to their situation, but I think anyone that's known Steam for a long time would know that they don't just bend to people's demands instantly. I think they saw a very strong proposition of we need to accept whatever they're telling us to do here or else we're screwed. And I don't envy the position they were put in for that, which means that something needs to be done about this. But anyways, I'll leave that there.